who's been for over 25 years helping women end the war with food and body and create body peace. Nina, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. I am delighted. So my name is Nina Manolson, and there's nothing I love more than talking to people about their relationship with food and body. And I'm super excited to do that with you today. We are going to take a different approach than you might be used to when talking about food. We're not going to explore it from a nutritional aspect. That'll come in a little bit, but we're coming at this from a relational aspect, right? We're going to dive into the psychology of eating. And we're going to also explore one really practical technique that'll support you in being intentional and caring towards yourself when it comes to eating. We're going to explore what it takes to have a good, a positive, a caring relationship with food that actually supports you. So I want to ask you one really important thing before we get rolling, which is to participate, right? Jump in, engage. This is a workshop, right? We all know a ton when it comes to food and nutrition, and we're on what I call a high fact diet, FACT. We have too many facts, so much information. Every blog, every magazine, it's all something new. We've learned this diet or that diet, right? So what we're doing here is getting into the work, okay? And as Cheryl Sarnak, when we were talking about this workshop, said, when I said, I really teach in a very experiential way, she wisely said, information is informational. Experiences are transformational. Okay, so what I invite you into is a transformational and engaging workshop. So I want you to leave with some ahas, some tools to practice with. I want you to feel like your time here was well spent and it was for you, right? It's a time for you and your relationship with self. When we're caregivers, it's all about everybody else. That's not what this is. This is you and your relationship to self. So I invite you to, we're going to have a conversation mostly via chat, right? I'm going to ask questions. I want you to jump in like right away. First thing, don't overthink, just say what's there. So when I'm trying to explain to somebody who's never met me before and has no clue the kind of thing that I do, I often say I'm kind of like a couples counselor. But instead of working with two people, I work with a woman and her relationship with food. So I want to start by asking you to imagine this. You're sitting in a therapist's office and she asks you, tell me about your relationship. Tell me about your relationship with food, right? How would you describe it? Put it in the chat. How would you describe if you were sitting with somebody? Here's my relationship. This is what I want to tell you about my relationship with my food, right? I see her every day, 3 times a day at least, hopefully, right? This is what it's like, right? This is great. It's a reward or a punishment. I love that, Bonnie. Libby says tumultuous, emotional, love, hate, right? What else? What else you got for me, right? There's a lot in here. What else would you say? Enjoyable. Yeah, sometimes it's super pleasurable, enjoyable. It's complex. Yeah, it's comforting. Absolutely. There's a lot of comfort often, especially when we're on, it can be a place of comfort. We're going to talk more about that. So what we're seeing is that there's, Amy says, for most of my life has controlled me instead of me controlling food. We'll get into the control piece. It's a very interesting aspect of relationship, right? So we're hearing is we have different relationships with our food, right? There's pleasurable relationships, there's complex relationships, there's this fraught, controlling relationship happening, there's a love, hate, there's emotion, right? So some of these, so what we really see though, is it's a relationship. right? These are words that you would absolutely use to describe a relationship. So as a bottom line, if you leave with nothing else, if you don't hear anything else of what I'm going to say, take away you are in a relationship with your food. Every day you're having a relationship. We're going to dive in today about how do you get this relationship to be a little better, to be a little more intentional, to be more supportive to you. Okay, so as you can see from this list of relationships that you put there, some of these relationships are easier to navigate than others, right? Some are fraught with judgment. Some are fraught with like, I'm just like, this is the best thing ever, right? But essentially it is a relationship, right? And it's an essential relationship. It's the most important relationship. If our life literally depends on this relationship, we're human. We need to eat to survive, right? So let's explore this more. So what makes a challenging relationship with food? What comes up? What makes a challenging relationship for food? Some of it came up already, right? I'm feeling like it's controlling me. What else makes for challenging, right? Control, guilt. Yep. What else you got? I know you know this, right? What makes for challenging relationship with food? The foods I want are not always good for health, right? So there's a little bit of a conversation like, I want you, I love you, but you don't necessarily love me back, right? It's one of my favorite phrases in my work. Love the food that loves you back, right? I love you so much, but you don't love me so much, right? So that gets complex, right? Elisa says prep time or time to cook. So, oh my gosh, it takes so much time. This relationship, it's exhausting. I got to shop, then I got to clean it, then I got to cook it, right? Then I got to clean it up, right? There's a lot of like time investment in this relationship. Amy says food can be used for an emotional crutch, right? So it can be challenging when we're in that place of emotional relationship. And Susanna says discipline. Ooh, that's a loaded word, right? What happens in a relationship when we feel like there's discipline, right? Linda says having to feed others in the family, right? There's a sort of an obligatory part of this relationship, right? We're asking food. There's a lot in there. It's complex. This is a challenging relationship, right? When you look at this list, you're like, wait, there's obligation in there. Sometimes there's discipline or control. There's emotions. There's all this time. There's this, is it good? Is it bad? There's judgment, right? These are, there's a lot going on here. So what makes for a good relationship with food? Let's go the other way. What makes for a fantastic relationship? What makes it feel like, oh, this is good, right? Because even if we were talking about any relationship, if you said this relationship had a lot of discipline, it took so long to deal with, it's so emotional, you'd be like, oh, this doesn't feel like a very fun relationship. So what makes for a fun relationship? Yafa says, I think investing in food means investing in yourself, right? Where it feels reciprocal, right? I'm loving you, I'm giving you energy, you're giving me something back. Michelle says it feels good. Fundamentally, it feels good. That's what we want in most relationships, right? We want it to feel good. We want to feel supported. We want to feel like there's something that it's a flow one way or the other, right? And Susanna, it feels good when we're sharing it with family, right? There's a sense of generosity. There's a sense of spaciousness. It doesn't feel stingy. We're not sneaking food. We're not feeling guilty about our food. We're not feeling like we're blaming ourselves for eating about the food, right? There's a sense of fun. Linda says, understanding what foods are beneficial and what foods are harmful, right? Linda, you're getting into this whole thing. It gets tricky here, right? Are we judging our food? Do we think this is good food and this is bad food? Are we stuck in a diet head all the time, right? I would put that almost in the category of this is a hard relationship, right? A good relationship is, you know what? This makes me feel good. I'm going to eat this. It makes my body feel good. It makes my tongue tingle with pleasure. right? And I know I am speaking maybe in terms that might be new for you if you've been very in the rules of diet culture growing up, which many of us have, where there's good food and there's bad food, and I'm being good or I'm being bad. But that's not a fun and sustainable relationship. It feels crappy after a while. We fail at that relationship, and then we feel bad about ourselves, right? Some of the things that you are describing about what feels good in a relationship, it feels like I'm eating, I feel good. I feel good about this relationship. I feel free. I feel generous. I feel alive, right? Bonnie says you feel well, right? You feel good. We want that in a relationship. It sits easily in your stomach, right? I love what Jennifer says. Food is cultural, ceremonial, right? Food is part of our whole culture, no matter what culture we come from. So many cultures have food woven in. So this is a complex relationship. It can feel like a really controlling and nasty relationship, or it can feel like a really fun relationship, right? We want to move towards intentional. We want to move towards this is a good relationship. This is a fun relationship. Now, we're not going from this like, ta-da, let's wave the magic wand and everything's good. We just said it's complicated. There's a lot going on. So let's just unpack a little more. What else is going on in this relationship, in this complex relationship? What are we asking food to do for us on any given day? What are all the things we ask food to do for us, right? Some of you already said it's soothing, right? I'm going to soothe. Libby says, keep us moving, energy, right? I need to keep going. Let me get a little bit of chocolate and I'm going to keep motoring. Cup of coffee and chocolate and keep it trucking. Absolutely. Michelle says, fulfill us physically and emotionally, right? The energy. And oh my gosh, this is really stressful. I need soothing. I call it Nana food, like, oh, it's all going to be good. Everything's going to be fine. Let me just give me some mac and cheese and keep me going, right? So we're also sometimes asking food to entertain us, right? In our family, we sit down and watch a movie and suddenly popcorn's being made, right? Like, oh, entertainment food, right? We have entertainment. In the days of going out for dinner, remember then? We used to go out and I would like do tapas, little bite of this, little bite of that, food as entertainment, right? Rebecca says, give us a different experience, right? Let's do something else. So what we're asking food to do is a lot of different things. So again, I'm just reflecting this back to you to say this is a complex relationship. Bonnie says, great way to share time with a loved one. Yes, food is connection. Food is relationship. Food is love, right? Someone's not well, you bring food, right? You're with someone who's not well, you feel loved, someone brought you food, right? It's like layers and layers in this relationship with food, right? So food, I want to come back to this emotional part of food because it's so important when we're in the role that you all are of caregiving and life is intense. Food can sometimes be the volume control. Oh, that was a really hard day. Let me turn the volume down on my nervous system. Oh, I think a little mac and cheese will do that. Or like a glass of wine will do that. Or some ice cream will do that, right? Food is often the volume control on our emotions. Yafa says, and if someone gives you food, you feel obligated to eat it to be thankful to your relationship with them. Yes, right? So interesting. This gets juicy. Again, oh, someone gave it to me, so I should eat it, but maybe it doesn't work for me. So then, but I want to appreciate them. And food gets all interwoven in the relationship with them and with us and how are we being taken care of. And, no one brought me a salad, but somebody brought me a lasagna. So, okay, I'll eat lasagna for the 10th time this week. Right? Do I want lasagna? Not necessarily, but okay, right? It's complicated is what I'm saying. So we are asking food to do so much, right? And much of it is unconscious, right? Food's there, I'm going to eat it. I'm hungry. My blood sugar's low. Let me grab something. So often this relationship can feel unconscious and sometimes it can feel, like someone said, it can feel out of control. Like food is driving the train, but we're not. And it puts us in a loop of, I ate it, I can't believe I ate it, now I feel bad about myself, I ate the lasagna, dairy doesn't work for me, now I feel bloated, now I feel crappy, now I just want to go to sleep, but I got to keep rolling because I got to take care of this loved one, and now I can eat a little chocolate to keep myself awake. Like it gets really kind of mired in there, right? So if we're in this super complicated relationship with our food all the time, remember, we're human, we need to eat. We are in this relationship. It's complex. Let's do it with intention, right? Let's do it on purpose. So what I would like to do is guide you in a powerful process of 3 simple phrases that will support you to eat on purpose, to shine a light, right? The phrases that I want to share with you and to work through with you, it's a way to shine the light on a relationship that you're having all the time, that you're asking your food to do a million things, right? To take care of you, to take care of others. It's complicated. So this is a technique that will support you in having a more intentional relationship with food. And as we walk into the realm of creating a shift in this relationship with food, it's really, really, really important to not make our unwanted eating habits the enemy. Right? So we're like, okay, I want to be more deliberate. Okay, then no more snacking after dinner. Okay, then no more nibbling through between 2 and 5 o'clock, right? We zone in on these unwanted eating habits and we make them the enemy. Those unwanted eating habits are actually trying to help us survive challenging times. Those unwanted eating habits are our sign that say, I am looking for support. I need a boost here, right? Your cravings, your nibbling, your unwanted eating habits are not the enemy, okay? They don't need to be curbed. They don't need to be tamed, none of that, okay? They actually need to be seen and understood for what they are. They're a coping mechanism, right? When we're trying to cope with COVID and caring for a loved one and somebody else who needs something else and somebody else who needs something else. And we're like, oh gosh, how do I cope with this? What's in my toolbox? And what's in the toolbox is the casserole somebody brought. I think I'll eat that casserole, right? We want obviously more tools in that toolbox for supporting ourselves. But the behavior of eating the whatever's on the counter is not the enemy. Making sense so far? Okay. I'm just going to say it one more time because it's so important. Our unwanted eating behaviors are coping mechanisms. They're trying to help you survive right now. I know it can feel like the opposite. I know it can feel, people say, oh, I feel like I'm sabotaging myself. They're actually trying to help you. And I know it can also feel like we're really out of control, like we aren't taking the best care of ourselves. Because really, we want to be in a place of choosing. We want to be able to say, do I want to make this choice? Is this the only thing in my toolbox? Is the next casserole, right? Or is there something else I need more? So we want to be able to eat on purpose. All right. So let's dive into our technique. We're going to work on one that I developed with my clients. I wanted them to have a simple practice that could come to the table with them. And that's what I want to invite you into today. This is a practice that is for practicing. You bring it to the table. We're going to practice it together. as a way of just getting familiar with it, as a way of exploring it. But I really want you to bring it to the table and see how that works. So the technique that we're going to practice is called the hello technique. And it's 3 phrases, and they all start with the word hello. So I want you to try something out. I'd like you to say, this may feel a little awkward, a little weird. You're on mute. You can say whatever you want, hopefully in the space that you're in. I want you to say the word hello out loud right now. Even if it feels weird, just say hello. Try it out loud. You could say it to yourself, hello. You could say it to your dog. You could say it to somebody else in the room. Try on different tones. Hello, 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 right? What do you notice? What do you feel when you say hello? Put it in the chat. What comes up when you say the word hello? What bubbles? What's here? And I'm going to keep encouraging you to stay engaged and write as much as you can, because it helps anchor it. It helps it become your practice. This is great. Okay. Right. We're engaging. Absolutely. Hello. I'm trying to engage the other person. I'm being open, right? Cheryl said, it interrupts my thoughts. It brings me present. Exactly. I'm trying to be heard, right? Something's trying to be said, right? The way I say it affects my mood. Say more, Amy. How does it affect your mood, right? So powerful. It does. It says, I am engaging you. Hello, we're in a relationship. Remember, we talked about we're having a relationship with food. How do we have this? And it's a complicated relationship, right? That's where we started. Now how do we engage in this relationship that's a little more intentional, that makes us be in there instead of it's just something that happens, right? Jennifer says, depending on what tone is used affects emotional feelings. Yeah, for sure, right? It's a conversation starter. It's a I'm listening starter. It's an I want to know, right? I'm curious. I'm here, right? And it's, Alinda says, the way we say it determines whether or not we are welcoming to the recipient of our hello, right? So try it on with this specific tone, which is hello, a little bit of a curious, engaged tone. Hello. And notice what comes up for you there, right? Because this is the hello is I am being deliberate with you. I am deliberately starting a conversation. And we start, when we say hello, we're starting a conversation with some decency. It's not like, hey, dude. No, it's like, hello, I have respect. I am reaching out, right? Hello, yes, exactly, Linda. It sets the tone to a relationship, right? Hello opens the door and reminds us just what we just explored. This is a relationship, and it's a complicated relationship. There's a lot going on here. So hello. I want to be in relationship. There's curiosity. There's wondering, right? There's that open door. Okay, so let's take it a step further. Try this on. And this one takes a little more imagination. Hello, food. This is our first phrase in the 3 phrases. Hello, food. And if you were saying hello, food, and you were starting this relationship with food, what might you say? What might you wonder to start that relationship? What might you ask? What might you be curious about? Hello, food. What comes up when you are starting this engaged relationship and you say hello, food? What bubbles? There's no wrong here. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's about being curious about this relationship. It's about making the relationship that we already have with food and our body more intentional. So hello, food. Linda, will I like you? Will you make me feel good? Those are great questions, right? Hello, food. How can I make you enjoyable to me? Oh my gosh, I ask that all the time. I take a bite and I'm like, yeah, this needs a little lemon, a little pepper, right? I'm like, that's one way, right? Engaging in that way, right? Hello, food. Where'd you come from? Who made you? Have you been sitting in a freezer? Right? Bonnie says, why are you here? Why are you here? It's a great question. Am I hungry? Am I bored? Am I tired? Am I upset? Why are you here? Uh-huh. So absolutely. Alyssa, hello, food. Why do you add so much weight to my body? Ah, now, Alyssa, you're getting into the, I'm a little mad at you, right? I think you're the enemy. Right? That's another whole piece of this relationship to unpack when we find ourselves in a conflict with food, where we feel like we're in a war, right? That's a lot of the work that I do with women is ending the war with food and body. Why are you at, it's your fault, right? Food, you're hurting me. Food is just there trying to be food, trying to help, right? Remember, our unwanted eating habits are not the enemy. They're there helping us cope and survive in life. They're actually life affirming. If we weren't eating, we would be dying, right? Even though it's complicated, right? We started there. So we want to be bringing in that curiosity in our relationship with food, right? Where are you from? Did someone buy you at a farmer's market? Have you been sitting at a grocery store in the freezer for, as a frozen bagel for a year and nobody bought you and now you're frostbitten and do I really want to eat you anyway? Right? Like we get a little discerning when we're like, hello, food, right? Do I really, hello, food? Oh, you, and we do it sometimes very naturally and smart. Hello, food. Oh, you're green. Oh, that's bad. Out you go, right? There's ways that we already do it. We're just trying to bring it more in to infiltrate our whole complex relationship with our body, right? So we want, with that hello food, we want to engage actually in pleasantries that are very deep. Where are you from? Why are you here? Do I like you? Are you interesting? Do I think you're tasty? Right? Because most of the time when we're eating, we're not really noticing, right? We're just reaching for what's there. We're not always awake at the wheel, right? Or rather awake at the plate, right? So saying that phrase, hello, food, wakes us up. Yes, I'm eating, right? It invites us to come into relationship with our nourishment. It invites us into relationship with our food. So hello food connects us to exactly why we chose to eat. Did we choose to eat? What exactly is on my plate? Is it something that feels nourishing to me? Is it something that, oh my gosh, I love this? Like I like broccoli. Broccoli does not like me. We do not get along, right? So I'll see like some big Chinese thing in broccoli. I'm like, oh, that looks so good. I want you. And my body goes, yeah, for how long? 5 minutes until you have stomach cramps? Not so much, right? We're going to have a conversation, right? Food, broccoli, I love, does not love me back, right? It's so we get to be into the conversation. What looks at the quality of the food. Was this food something I consciously chose or am I grabbing it to just keep going? And this isn't about criticizing yourself. This isn't about judgment. This is about noticing. This is about curiosity. This is about intentional choosing. Okay? So there's this is really powerful, and there's some science that backs this up. And I want to talk to you about why this whole hello technique works, why saying hello works, and why we start with hello food. So there's something called, this is the science section of the talk, there's something called the cephalic phase response, cephalic phase digestive response. And it's basically a very complex or fancy term for taste, pleasure, aroma, satisfaction. It's all the visuals, all the senses of your meals. So cephalic means literally of the head. So this term really describes the head phase of digestion. Everything that happens in your brain to help you metabolize your meal, right? And the really cool thing is that the total of all the research on cephalic phase digestive response says that about 40 to 60% of our digestive and assimilative and calorie burning power of any meal happens at this head phase of digestion, right? So what that means, if we miss this phase, right, meaning we're eating in the car, we're not paying attention, we're trying to do something and we're just grabbing, we eat too fast, we're eating under stress, we're multitasking, we're metabolizing our meal at only 40 to 60% efficiency, right? We're metabolizing our meal at 40 to 60% efficiency. That means calorie burning is down. That means assimilating all the nutrients is down, right? So, and what's even more important is we kind of miss out on the experience of taste and pleasure and satisfaction. And so the brain says, I missed something, and it actually misses that I'm full cue, right? So in other words, if you rush through a meal and fail to notice it, the brain isn't smart enough to say, hey, you were in a rush, and you weren't paying attention, but you just ate. No, we're like, I didn't eat. Like, I'm still hungry because we didn't have the full experience, right? So we're literally physiologically driven to eat more even if we've eaten a big meal, right? The brain says, eat. I didn't get what I needed. I didn't get the pleasure. I didn't get the eating experience. So when we say hello food, we're stopping. We get to engage. Oh, I'm eating, right? That's what the cephalic phase response does. Okay, so let's just crank this up a little bit more and just take a breath, because this is another secret sauce to digestion, metabolism, and engagement in our meal, in having an intentional relationship. Take a breath and take another breath. And what do you notice? What do you notice, right? We've all done some yoga or breathing. What do you notice when you breathe? What do you notice when you breathe? What happens? Your head feels lighter. What else? What else? You relax, right? It slows us down. It brings us into that present moment, right? Absolutely. So we want to be hello food and we want to breathe, because with those things we are engaging. Breathe. Hello food. Oh, I'm eating. What's this food for? What am I asking it to do? Am I asking it to solve all of world problems right now? Am I asking it to fill me because I'm hungry? Am I asking it to boost my blood sugar because I haven't eaten? Like, what's happening? Hello food. Okay, we're going to move on. Next phrase, right? It helps you be more mindful. Yes, right? I'm doing when I breathe, I come into, this is what I'm doing right now. So let's get into our second phrase and let's experiment with it again. And if you're comfortable, just close your eyes for a moment. Take that breath to connect with this moment and say, hello, body. That's our next phrase. Hello, body. Say it out loud. Say it to yourself. Hello, body. Just like when we were exploring the first hello, just hello, body. And Again, might feel a little awkward, but let yourself sink into that. And then try this. Just we're taking this a little further. Put your hand in your other hand. Just your hand in your hand. Give it a little squeeze. Hello, body. And notice what you feel there. And then put your hand on your heart. Hello, body. And notice what that feels like. Right? So what did you notice? What did you notice as you were engaging your body? What came up as you held your hand or put your hand on your heart? Bonnie says, I connected to myself. Yes, absolutely. I connected to myself. That's the whole point, right? Because where's the food going? It's going into this body, really, right? So we want to tune in. We want to connect. Hello, body. It's like saying, I'm home. I'm here. I'm connecting with myself. And when we are caregivers, it's all about everybody else. To be able to say, hello, body, is I am here in this space. This is a human being that needs to be nourished. Hello, food. Oh, yes, there's food in front of me, and it's for me. How fantastic. Me, my body needs caring for, right? It's so important, right? Our body. And I want to remind you before you think, are you kidding me? I do not have time for this, right? I'm doing a million things. I barely have time to pee, never mind actually sit and eat, right? I'm busy taking care of everybody else. I do not have time to like breathe and connect. This can be done anywhere, anytime. 15 seconds, right? Can bring you into this powerful metabolism booster, a digestive enhancing, nervous system adjusting technique. Okay, take a breath. Hello, food. You take a breath. Hello, body. And you take a breath, right? We're up to 8 seconds now. Okay, I think you can do 8 seconds, really. Okay, so let's go. And you can do this sitting. I have done it, like, waiting for kids in a car. Hello, food. I'm in a car. Yes, I am. Hello, body. Yep, here I am in a car eating. It's true. Hello, body. Like you can do it anywhere. Okay, our next phrase is where we start to soak in this eat on purpose approach at a very deep cellular level. This is where I feel like things start to get humming. They really get juicy. So the third phrase is hello, pleasure. So, and before I say more about pleasure, what even comes up for you when I say the word pleasure? What bubbles? What comes up? What do you notice? Peacefulness. Smile. Yes, we deserve pleasure. Absolutely. Right? A smile and chocolate, right? Pleasure, deluxeness, all of that stuff. Absolutely. It feels good, right? We need more of that. We need pleasure. So try this phrase on for size. This isn't part of our hello technique, but it's a very important one. I deserve to have a pleasurable and kind relationship with my food and body. I deserve to have a pleasurable and kind relationship with my food and body. What bubbles up? Maybe, possible, could be. I want to say yes, it is absolutely possible. Yeah, it feels good. This is self-care at a deep level. This isn't, oh, you should take a bath every night. This is like, I get to feel good in my own skin, kind of, right? This is body peace. We all deserve it, okay? And I want to let you know why we need it. Because it can sometimes feel like, oh yeah, a bubble bath, that'd be nice, right? Oh yeah, pleasure. That's, for somebody else who's not taking care of somebody who has huge needs, right? But it can feel like pleasure is almost indulgent when other people are suffering or going through such challenges. But pleasure is an essential worker. And let me tell you why. And again, this is the science section of the class. So we have 2 tracks of our nervous system: sympathetic, parasympathetic. Sympathetic is fight or flight. I'm being chased by the tiger. I go into fight or flight. Cortisol goes up. Adrenaline goes up. Those are stress hormones, right? We also have parasympathetic. Parasympathetic is rest and digest. It is being served a pina colada on the beach in Tahiti, right? It is, I am chilled out, my body is digesting, everything is good in the world, the sunset is gorgeous, my pleasure is engaged. Now, the amazing thing about pleasure is it can move us from fight or flight. Oh my gosh, did I get the right medication for my loved one? When is the next doctor's appointment? Blah, blah, blah. All the things that keep us in stress mode. Pleasure, can take us into parasympathetic. We can actually make that move. And the cool thing is we can do it because we're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? We have a moment to say hello, pleasure with our food, right? So when we are stressed, when we're worried, when we've got the weight of the world on our shoulders and we're holding the responsibility of another human, it's hard to feel pleasure because we are in that stress mode, right? Stress and that sympathetic nervous system activation, being chased by a tiger, it desensitizes us to pleasure, right? When we're running from the tiger, we don't go, oh, that's a pretty rose. Maybe I'll stop and smell. No, our biology is geared for the giant run. Okay, so the cool part is that every time we eat, we can support our body to come into rest and digest. Hello Pleasure invites us to tune into our senses, right? How do we do that? What color is my food? What do I see? What do I smell, right? So that hello food in the beginning that got our cephalic phase response going is actually a key and a clue to how to access the pleasure part, right? Hello food. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. Okay, let me put it on a plate instead of eating it out of the to-go container. Oh, that would make it more pleasurable, right? So again, it might seem like there's no time for this at all, right? No time for pleasure. I'm so focused on survival, but remember, we're human. We require food. We are having a relationship with food. Whether we like it or not, our relationship is happening with food. So let's make it intentional. Let's make it support our digestion, our metabolism, our nervous system. So 15 seconds, all right? Let's try it together. Here we go. And it works even with food with not in front of us. So practice. So take a breath. Hello, just try the hello. Oh yes, I'm engaging in a relationship, right? Okay, hello food. Oh, food, huh? Am I hungry? What would I want to eat? Hello food, where would I like this food to even come from? Take a breath. Hello body. Oh yeah, I have a body. I am a human too that needs caring for. Me too. Body, hello body. Take another breath. Hello, pleasure. All right. So I want to know Francine says, not feeling critical of myself. I want to know what's happened. Where are your ahas? What's happened for you? What's juicy? Where are your questions? And while you type them in or unmute yourself to ask if it's a little bit more complicated than a type, I want to post a link that's going to give you the whole hello technique on one handout. Okay, so let me quick get that for you. Here it is. And I'm going to put it in the chat. It's at ninamanolson.com/caregivers. Okay, and it's there just for you to download, print it. You can print it in black and white. It is in color, but you can print it in black and white and hang it up, and it will remind you, hello food, hello body, hello pleasure. So it's at ninamanolson.com/caregivers. And there's some other information. If you want to be in touch with me, there's information on that page as well. So what's your how? What are you sitting with? And I'll tell you, it's important to speak what you got for two reasons. One, it anchors it, right? It makes the sort of in this moment, oh, I learned something, more real. It also helps that other people hear it, because everybody got something different here, right? We're all in different places. Amy says, do you have to say them out loud? Other people may find it strange. They may, or they may get curious. And no, you don't have to say it out loud, but it's kind of powerful when you do. So if you are eating by yourself ever, try it. Try it out loud. It is amazing because it really solidifies this idea. I am in relationship with food and body. How do I want to be in this relationship? What else? What else are your ahas or questions? Linda.
So too long to type.
Yeah, go ahead.
Starting this relationship with the food, saying hello as if you're engaging another person. And I know I used the word mindful before, but it really helps you be mindful about what you're about to eat and what you're about to put in your body and how it's going to affect you and how it's going to make you feel. So in general, that's I guess a better way to exist in terms of, instead of just putting something in our mouth without even knowing what it is, caring what it is, or really, like you said, getting that pleasure out of it and having that satiated feeling in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. That what you're saying about mindfulness, it's interesting. I like the idea of mindfulness, and I want to invite you into more than your mind around it. We need our mind, right? There's that whole cephalic phase to digestive response, but we also need our body in this relationship, right? So I want it to be like, oh, I'm in here, like fully, I'm engaged. Great. Thank you. Bonnie says, is it about not eating the item or making a different choice at that moment in time? No. It's about awareness. It's about curiosity. It may lead you to be like, actually, sort of like with me with broccoli, like, garlic broccoli. I'm like, oh my God. Eventually I was like, yeah, no. Like, I love you, but you do not. Hello, food. I remember you. I know what kind of relationship we have. We do not get along. So I don't think I want to choose you again. Right? So is it about, because implicit in their body is this idea of like, oh, there's this right choice and there's this wrong choice. It's just about, we choose to hang out with different people at different times. Sometimes it's a totally awesome relationship. Sometimes it's sort of like, oh, we're just hanging out, we're just walking down the street together. That's fine too. It's not about good or bad eating, right? We need to take the judgment out. There is enough judgment. We do not need to lay that on ourselves at all, right? This is a very compassionate approach. This comes from a place of curiosity so that we can engage in our relationship with our body from a place of serving ourselves, from a place of peace and not judgment and not shame and not blame. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Oh, so no, but I understand what I've got to ask about the choice, but it does sort of give you more of a choice because you're taking that pause and you're breathing, not to choose, oh, shouldn't eat this, but like you even said, like, oh, maybe this was in the freezer at the store for like a month, or with you, oh, yeah, maybe I didn't realize I don't like broccoli, or broccoli doesn't like me. So really that pause, like any relationship, if you're about to do something spontaneously and you pause, that pause gives you a few seconds to determine, oh, is this really what I wanted to eat now? Like maybe I'll eat it later. Maybe I want to eat something else.
Absolutely. My favorite analogy with that is if you've ever been to London, on the subway there, it's one of the oldest subway systems in the world. And so when it was built, the track was straight and the train curves. So there's these giant gaps between the track and the train, right? And so everywhere you see, like Tricia said, mind the gap, right? And there's signs everywhere. So you mind that you're like, oh, gap, there's a gap, right? There's a moment, like Linda's saying, there's a moment, there's a pause. And so when we're in hello food, we are in a moment of minding the gap. I'm going to eat that food's going to end up in this body. How is that? Is this what I want? Is this what I choose? Does this support me? Do I feel nourished? Right? Or do I feel like it's the only choice I have, or it's the only, or really what's going on is I'm having a lot of feelings and I need to talk to somebody. And then maybe I'll come back and eat. But really, when I connect into my body, there's just so much fear or so much sadness, right? It gives us space to be in a more authentic relationship with ourselves. And yes, does it give us choices? Yes, because it slows down the action for us to listen to what our body really wants and needs. Any other ahas or awarenesses? Anything else you want to share? Something you're taking away? You can say it out loud or put it in the chat. Linda says, thank you. You are very welcome. It's been a total delight to be here. I hope you pick up the handout because it'll be super helpful just to have it. A lot of people just have that handout sitting there and like, okay, this reminds me, right? I'm also a big Post-it girl. I'll put Post-its, right? Used to be when my kids were little, I would put them to bed and then I'd be standing in front of the fridge and I'd be like, hello food. Why am I even standing in the front of the fridge? Oh, I won an award. I got them to sleep, right? So having those Post-its like hello body or hello food, just hello, I'm here. What's happening?
Okay, thank you so much, Nina. We really appreciate it. That was very insightful. I hope everyone else enjoyed, and I would love it if you all could check out the flyer that Nina sent us. If you have any questions, you can always, I think your email's on that, it's on your website, right? Perfect. Please join us for future Wolff Caregiver events. We're going to be having one in March. The date is to be determined, so we'll be sending an email. And it's part of the But Who Takes Care of You series. So we'll always be trying to have a speaker who's talking about, taking care of yourself and self-care and how important that is. So stay tuned, check your emails, and thank you for joining us today.
Libby,
Thank you,
Libby,
Nina.
one moment.
Yes.
So